I wasn't asleep when they started whispering. The monitors hummed. The room smelled like antiseptic and old fear. My daughter lay small and still beneath wires, her chest rising like it needed permission. My sister leaned close to my bed, voice syrupy, careful. She thought grief had sedated me. She thought pain made me dumb. "She won't make it," she said, almost tender. "And maybe that's for the best." My jaw locked. I counted breaths. 1, 2. The heart monitor kept time. "She's unfit," my sister continued. "Always has been. This is our chance. Our." The words slid under my skin like a blade. My brother-in-law murmured agreement. They spoke softly, like thieves in a church, planning my life as if it were unclaimed luggage. I stayed still. I let them believe the lie that saves predators, that silence means surrender. I remembered when my sister used to braid my hair before school, her fingers gentle, patient. I remembered how she stood beside me at my wedding, smiling wide for photos, whispering jokes to calm my nerves. Trust is a habit. Once formed, it's hard to break, even when it poisons you. After my husband left, she became my shadow. Meals, advice, help. She framed it as loyalty. I framed it as survival. I didn't see the way her kindness came with strings, the way her eyes measured my children like assets. I didn't hear the undertone when she talked about my son's future, about stability, about what's best. The first crack appeared as paperwork. Insurance forms arrived at the hospital addressed to my sister. A social worker asked questions that didn't belong to me, questions about my capacity. A nurse apologized for a phone call I never made. Patterns don't scream, they whisper until you lean in. The proof came at 2:17 a.m., the night my daughter spiked a fever and the room emptied. My sister's phone buzzed on the chair. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The screen lit up by itself. Guardianship hearing, filed. Temporary custody, pending. If the girl passes, expedite the boy. I closed my eyes and let the shock pass through me like cold water. Panic is loud. Control is quiet. I chose quiet. I didn't confront her. I didn't cry. I listened. I watched. I let them underestimate the woman they'd already written off. I asked the hospital for my records and logged every interaction, dates, names, times. I requested a patient advocate. I smiled and said thank you. I called a lawyer at dawn, family law, clinical calm. We spoke in facts, not feelings. I authorized a background check I'd never imagined needing. I froze my credit. I locked down my children's school access. I documented my parenting like I was building a case for history. My sister brought soup and sympathy. I let her. She told me she'd handle things so I could rest. I let her believe I needed saving. I set a trap made of truth. The hospital installed cameras in the room for safety. The social worker requested a formal meeting. I agreed and asked that it be recorded. My lawyer attended, silent, pen poised. My sister spoke for me without being asked. She always did. She said I was overwhelmed. She said I was unstable. She said she loved my children enough to make hard choices. Then I spoke. I played the audio from that night, her voice soft and hopeful, wishing my daughter gone. I slid the messages across the table, printed and dated. I showed the filing timestamp, filed before the doctors stabilized my child. I showed the transfer attempt from my account to hers, disguised as medical assistance. The room changed temperature. People don't fall all at once. They realize, piece by piece, that the ground they stood on was never theirs. The hearing didn't go her way. Emergency custody dissolved. The report shifted. The word malicious entered the record like a verdict. My sister's smile tightened. She tried to reach for me afterward, to explain, to cry. I stepped back. The confrontation came later when my daughter slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. My sister stood in the hallway, cornered by fluorescent light and consequence. "You ruined me," she hissed. I shook my head. "No," I said. "You tried to bury me while I was breathing." She threatened court. I showed her the pending restraining order. She threatened family. I showed her the group message I'd already sent, with receipts attached. Truth travels faster when it's fed. Her world shrank. Invitations dried up. Jobs asked questions. The version of herself she curated collapsed under the weight of her own words. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Justice doesn't require applause. Weeks later, my daughter came home. My son laughed again. The house relearned its rhythm. I slept without fear for the first time since the monitors stopped humming. Sometimes I replay that night in the hospital, the whispers, the planning, the certainty they had that I was finished. I don't feel anger anymore. I feel clarity. They thought I was asleep. I was listening.